Welcome back. 2021 seems kind of odd, right?
I haven't seen you in a year.
I know I haven't seen you since last year. Where have you all been?
Home. We were only gone
Home?
for 2 weeks.
2 weeks. It did feel like 2 days, though. All right, Kenny. But we need to get started. So we're going to start with reading. Okay. We're going to do some things a little different. We're going to actually read a novel here for the next few weeks. Okay. So it's a thicker book that we're going to be reading. And let me grab. So Where the Red Fern Grows is what we're going to be reading. Okay. Those of you here in person have this lovely packet. Now, we're not going to get it all done in one day. We're not going to get it all done in 1 week. Okay, we're going to do this over the course of time. Okay, a few weeks here. We're going to work on this. We're just getting started today. This packet you want to hold on to. It's guided reading questions. There are vocab questions in there, and there are some other activities in there that we'll work on. If they're guided reading questions, what does that mean? We've talked a lot about guided reading questions. What does it mean to be a guided reading question or questions? Nick?
I think it means like the answers, it tells you the answers in the story.
No, you're going to find the answers. If it's guiding reading, what is it doing, Kenny?
Like it gives you like the page that's on it and then all the questions.
What does the word guided mean? If you're taking a guided tour, what's happening? Juliana?
It's gonna be like in the middle of like a paragraph or something.
Not necessarily. I'm not talking about where the answers are. I'm not talking about questions. What is a guided reading packet or questions or resource going to do for you? What's it helping you do? What's it helping you find? About the word guided. Hunter? It is. Resources from the story, right? Important things from the story, right? It's guiding your reading. It's helping you find the information that might end up where later.
And the answers?
The answers for what? The test, right? Quizzes, tests, worksheets, things that are important in that story that we need to keep in mind. Okay, so that packet has some guided questions in there that you're going to answer, or we're going to answer together sometimes. Okay, and we'll go over those. What will this packet then, when it's all said and done, help you do later? Juliana already told us. Tell me again, Riker.
It'll give you
It will. The answers to what? Yep, so at the end, when we take a final test over this novel, this is kind of a study guide. Okay, a review resource. It'll help you remember things that were important in the story. Okay, so you don't have to reread the entire story again. That's the point of this. So what I'm telling you, or why I'm telling you this, is you will not always be submitting things from here. Okay? There will be times I will ask you to submit something, a picture of the questions you've answered. Okay? But it won't always be submitted. I won't have every page of this packet submitted to me. Okay? This is for you. This is to help you prepare for the end of the test at the end of the book. It's to help you keep things straight as far as characters and events that are happening, plot. Okay, that's why you have it. Yes, I will be taking grades on some of those pages, but not all of them. So if it doesn't tell you to submit, then you're probably not submitting. Okay? Those of you online don't have a paper packet, but you're welcome to have somebody pick one up if you'd like. I am trying to get it posted here, and I will show you. Here is where all of our Where the Red Fern Grows stuff will be located. So I tried posting this packet in chunks of for the PDF, but it's not working. It's not downloading it. For whatever reason, I have to figure something out and fix that for you. But you do have what you need for today. Okay? So you have, this is what we're going to be reading. This is in our packet for those of us that are here. It's also posted here now on Schoology. We're going to be reading Meet Wilson Rawls. He is the author of Where the Red Fern Grows. We're going to get a little introduction on him and the novel that we'll be reading. Okay? So we're going to look at those pages here in a little bit. And then you have here on Schoology, there it is, a reader response. We're going to make some predictions. Okay, based on that information, we're going to read about the author and the novel. What's a prediction? If I'm making a prediction, Maya, what am I doing? It is, right? We're taking some information that we're reading. We have some knowledge that we know, right, about what happens. And we're going to make an educated guess. Okay, what we think is going to happen in this story. I have some questions here that you're going to think about as you're making your prediction of this story. Then you're going to submit that as today's assignment. You also have in the vocab worksheet, we're going to talk about these vocab words, and this is also in the packet. Chapter 1 and 2 vocab words. We're going to look at those here in just a few minutes. Okay, we've got 3 words here we're going to talk about. And then tomorrow we'll start reading the book. Okay, where do you find the book, you ask? I'm going to show you. Right here, Where the Red Fern Grows, text and audio. So you have the option of reading it. Okay, if I click on chapter 1, it pulls up chapter 1. Up here is where if I wanted to listen to it, I would hit play. If you don't want to listen to it, then you can read it on your own. Okay? It has each of those chapters back over here for you to click on. More on this one I like because you can just click on the chapter and it takes you right to it. Okay, so that's where the novel itself will be. Okay? That's what we're going to be working on for the next few weeks in reading. Before we get too involved, I have one more thing I need to talk to you about, but questions about reading this novel. You know where everything's going to be at. I'll get the packet for those of you at home posted as soon as I can work out those kinks.
Wait,
Okay, again, if you want an actual paper copy, I'll be more than happy to leave one in the office for you to pick up. Yes, Nick?
Are you saying we don't read it on this thing, we read it on...
We'll probably read it from here. Okay, so we don't have to read from the iPad, which will be a nice break from that. Okay? Go ahead.
I kind of forgot what novel is.
A novel is this, chapter book.
Just any chapter?
Yeah, you might refer to them as a novel, chapter books. Okay?
Aren't comic books kind of novels?
They could be. We're telling a story. The other thing I need to talk about is the January book report. Okay, we're going to do this one a little different. I keep changing it here. Got some new requirements for this. Let me pull that up so we can talk about this, and then we'll get started with, there it is, Where the Red Fern Grows. So here is January. It looks similar to some of the ones we've had in the past, right? Each letter represents something different from that book. It's requiring 2 books still, but one of those books must be an actual book. It cannot come from Epic. It has to be a book I see in your hand and I approve of, or if you're at home, you send me a picture of.
What about from a library?
Okay, yep, it can be a library book, it can be a book you have at home. I'm going to open my cabinets here if you want to use one of those books, and then we'll just set them aside and I'll do what I need to properly put them back, okay? But it has to be a book. It cannot be something off Epic. And I'm doing that because I am finding that many of you, instead of reading on Epic, are listening to it. I want you to read it, okay, and understand it. It's 2 very different things, okay? So I want an actual book, and that actual book has to be approved by me. So if I don't hear from you at all during the month of January about a book that you want to read, I'm going to assume that you didn't do an actual book, that you only did something from Epic. Okay?
So one book could be from Epic and one...
Correct. One can come from Epic, one has to be a book.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're not here in the classroom with me, you can send me a picture on Schoology, you can send me a message, and if you're in Mrs. Bush's class, I can meet you in the hallway. Okay, if you're at home, send me a picture of that book so I can see it, and then I can let you know yes or no. It has to be a chapter book. I'm not accepting Diary of a Wimpy Kid books, those kind of comic books. I want you to find a chapter book like this. This is the kind of book I'm looking for. This one does not count, by the way. You don't get to use this for one of your book reports. Okay? But but this is the kind of book I'm looking for January, for one of them. Okay, questions, Josh?
Can both of them be you reading books like
Oh, like actual books?
Yeah.
Yeah, both could be actual books for sure. Absolutely. Eli?
Could they be like I Survive books?
Can they be what?
I Survive books?
Yes, those books are fine. Okay, those are good ones. All right, other questions about this? This is due, I think, January 29th. I gotta put my new calendar up, 'cause I think that's a Friday, the last Friday of January.
Yep.
Okay, so it's due January 29th. If you have questions, message me. If you have a book already in mind, then let's get that done, and I'll write it down so I know that I heard from you and you picked a book, and I know what book to look for when you submit that. Okay?
Yes.
All right, so January book report, we got that figured out. Let's go back to our novel we're working on. We're going to look at the vocab page. So those of you here in class, at school, have that in your packet. And it should look just like this. There it is. Okay. Residential, dormant, and baying are our three vocab words that we're looking at right now. Notice it says a sentence and then a definition. I want you to take a few minutes using your iPad, look those words up, see what they mean. Okay, and then we'll talk about them. Residential, dormant, baying.
So we don't write anything down, we just.
You can write it on there. Yeah, when you find the definition, write it down. What sheet, Emmy? You have what? Oh, all your stuff's probably still down at the office. Great. We'll have to look at that later.
which definition were you?
Maybe keep them both in mind for right now and not write one down,
Okay.
okay? Because we'll talk about that here once you're done.
They have the words in the book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where these words are coming from. They're in the book. Not the definitions, but the words. a minute. If you don't get all of them, it's fine. Don't panic. All right, let's look at that first word, residential. So you may have noticed over here it says PG1, which means it's on page 1, but being that we're using, or you have an online version, it may not be the correct page numbers. Okay, so that's why we didn't use those. But I'm going to read to you the sentence that the word residential is in. And I want you to look at your definition and see if it makes sense with this word in the sentence. Okay? It says, after all, it wasn't anything to get excited about, just another dogfight in a residential section. What's residential mean? Wyatt?
A residential area is
Yeah, a land use. Yeah, a land used for housing. So it's where people live.
Yeah.
Okay, residential is where people are living. Okay, land used for houses, homes. Okay. So the dogfight is happening in an area where there are probably people or homes nearby. Okay, for that first one. So sentence in context wants you to write that sentence using it, okay, or from the story. So I'll read the sentence one more time. After all, it wasn't anything to get excited about. Just another dogfight in a residential section. I'm going to write that sentence up here so we can see it and write it down. Okay? Just to help remind us of how that sentence should, or that word should be used. So let's see. After all, it wasn't anything to get in a residential section, I think it says. All right. I might shorten it up. You might not have to write all of this here. You could probably just write this part there. Okay? Write that in there. We're going to talk about the next word. All right. Dormant is the next one. It's telling me I can find that on page 3. It says, it's strange indeed how memories can lie dormant in a man's mind for many years. What does dormant mean? Now, Kenny was asking which definition because there was more than one. Which one do you think, Kenny?
To be inactive.
Yeah, to be inactive. So they're just sitting there, right? And something kind of triggers those memories to come back. Right, Hunter?
Probably like a deep sleep that you get all the memories in your head when you're sleeping.
Yeah, where they're there, right? But it's not necessarily something to think about. Okay, plants go dormant, so they go inactive, right? They're not necessarily growing or doing anything over a certain period of time, especially in the winter for us. Okay, so I'm gonna just write part of that sentence. We're not having to write quite so much. We're gonna start with, so I'm gonna do these 3 little dots, and that means I'm skipping some words, right?
Yeah.
How memories can lie dormant for so many years. So I took a little off the top there. All right, I'm gonna write that down. We got one more word. Writing this down. Sentences. That's not what that means. It doesn't mean you're in a deep sleep. These things are inactive. So you need to be writing these definitions down in the sentences. Doesn't mean to be in a deep sleep. It just means memories aren't prominent. They're not right in the front. Okay. Now we have baying on page 14. I think once I read this sentence, you'll know what it means. It says, I was lying in bed one night trying to figure out a way I could get some dogs when I heard the deep baying of a coonhound. Ooh, what does that mean, Hunter?
You could have barking or howling.
Right, barking or howling is what they would be doing. So for our sentence here, and I'm only going to write part of it.
I have another definition.
Well, that's the one we're looking for. Okay, yeah, there probably are more, but that's the one we want
Yeah.
according to the sentence.
Typically shouting or demanding.
Okay, but we're talking about a dog, so what is it going to be doing?
Barking.
Barking. Okay. Let me see. When I heard, I'm going to do those 3 dots again. When I heard. Lost my spot. There it is. The deep baying. Of a. Alright. So there's that one. We've got some other ones here, but they're set up a little differently for the rest of the words. Let's write that down. Yes, Wyatt.
What's the definition? Because I looked all.
Barking. Barking or howling. For baying? Yeah. And you might add loudly, because Josh mentioned shouting, right? So you could say loud barking or howling.
Shouting loudly or
Yeah.
quickly to demand.
writing, you'll have to pause. I'm going to slide you over here, because we need to scroll down to the next page, or not the next page, the next section of that page, which is right here. And it says grieve. Okay, so we're going to complete this table about that word. In the story, it says, you're going to have to do something, she said. I never saw a boy grieve like that. It's not right. Not right at all. So that sentence to me doesn't help a whole bunch knowing what it means, right? You probably have heard this word, but it wants the part of speech. I know you know what part of speech is. That's something you've worked in language. So what part of speech is the word grieve? If you look here, it tells you. Part of speech. So we're looking, is it a noun? Is it a verb? Is it a pronoun? Is it an adjective? What kind of word is grieve in that sentence? Hunter?
Pronunciation.
And that's this. This is the pronunciation of the word. So I have to keep going down here. This one's set up a little differently. What does this say? It's a verb. So next to part of speech for the word grieve, you're going to write verb.
For the part of speech.
Yep, part of speech.
Do we have to write in traces? No,
Alright, verb is the part of speech. The definition. If I scroll up here, we can see there's this main definition, right? Suffer grief. So we're going to write that down underneath definition. Need that there? So this here, I know there's a lot going on this page, so suffer grief.
definitions suffer grief?
Yep. Or you might write feel grief. Okay, if you like this definition down here better. Alright. See if this gives us any. It does not. Oh, synonyms. Yep, then we need a synonym and an antonym it's asking for. So I'm going to click on see synonyms.
What is it?
What's a synonym? What's a synonym, Nick?
I believe something that means like the same thing.
Right,
but it's a
something,
different
yep,
word.
something that means about the same. So here you have mourn. Would be a good one to write. Okay, for mourning, you're grieving. M-O-U-R-N is how you spell that. M-O-U-R-N. Kenny, question?
No, I was just gonna say the
Okay, well, we're getting there. Let's write the synonym first. All right. So M-O-U-R-N for our synonym. And then it lists some antonyms here as well, which means opposite, right? So you have be happy or rejoice. Okay, can write those down next to antonym. And you have the definition, the part of speech, and some synonyms and antonyms there. I'm going to have you use that word in a sentence. So word in a sentence, you can write that down on your own. Think of a sentence you want to write. I'm going to go. So we're right here filling in this. You're going to do word in a sentence on your own. Section on this vocab worksheet. You have 3 more words here. Atmosphere, unbearable, and deliberately. What's atmosphere mean? Maya?
It's the space around the earth.
Okay. It might be a little different meaning. It is usually the space around the earth, right, if we're talking scientifically. If I say the atmosphere in here is kind of sleepy, what does that mean? Riker? No? No, Kenny?
Like what everyone's feeling like.
Yeah.
Majority.
Kind of a feeling, right? A sense you get from the room, okay? We're all kind of sleepy. We're trying to get back into the swing of things, okay? So the atmosphere within a place might feel a certain way, all right? For atmosphere.
Doesn't that mean like, isn't it like a shield around the earth?
Well, that's the one Maya mentioned. That's the scientific definition, yes. But in our case, for these sentences, you need to know the other one, okay? Unbearable. If something is unbearable, like Monday mornings, what does that mean?
Bad.
Riker?
It's like, you can't stand it.
Right, you can't stand it. You just can't tolerate it. Deliberately, if something is done deliberately, what's that mean? Kenny?
They just did it and didn't really care.
Okay, yeah, they did it on purpose, right? They deliberately did something, they did something on purpose. So you're going to use these three words to fill in those three sentences. I'll give you a second and then I'll tell you your last thing for today. Just a second. Updating a little something here. There we go. All right, what you need? Just a second. All right, so I changed these directions here for 1 and 2 vocab worksheet. You're not going to submit that. If you followed along in the video, you should have everything done correctly. Okay? So no submission for this vocab worksheet today. We'll do the answers to those last 3 sentences. Anybody need more time to fill those in? Are we ready? We're good? All right. So the first one. Jenny thought her brother had blank ruined her dolls. What word goes in there, Claire? Yep, deliberately ruined her dolls. Good. Number 2, the blank at the party was full of laughter and joy. Josh?
Atmosphere.
Atmosphere for number 2. And that means number 3, Marcus found the music, Maya? Unbearable, and had to talk outside to get some peace and quiet. Okay, so we had deliberately for 1, number 2 was atmosphere, and number 3 was unbearable. So you are not submitting that worksheet today. We did it together. All right. So let's go back here. So your assignment for today is to skim through here, get to know the author and what his book is about. There are about 2.5 pages. Okay, you're going to meet Wilson Rawls on this first page and get to know a little bit about him, and then you're going to learn about this novel, this book that he wrote in the last 2 pages, and then you're going to make your prediction. Okay? You can read it on the iPad or you can read it within the packet. That's up to you if you have the packet.
So we
Okay?
make our prediction on what it's
All right.
about.
And then, boys, you have, I already pointed out, I'll show you again, because it was early on. This reader response predictions is what you're going to submit for today's assignment. Remember, there are some questions to think about. What may be some turning points in Billy's life? Why are the 2 dogs such good friends to him? Who else may influence Billy's life? And who he is as an adult and why? So who influences him as an adult? Okay, and just Billy in general. So there's no right or wrong answer to these. Okay, you're making a prediction. You haven't read the story yet. You don't know. You're getting a glimpse, kind of a preview of the story and taking that information and making, like we said earlier, an educated guess. Okay, so you'll answer those questions. You'll submit that on Schoology once you're done reading those couple of pages. Okay? So that's your reading assignment. Read the Meet the Author and the Introducing the Novel. Answer these questions. Okay? We good? We sure? All right. I'm going to let you work then.